welcome to another video. Today's video is all about being slow and controlled with our movements. So this is a great video if you don't feel like moving super fast pace and jumping around, things like that. We're going to be very controlled and deliberate with our moves. So we're going to get started on our hands and knees in a cat-cow position. So hands beneath our shoulders, knees beneath our hips, about hip width apart. Starting to take an inhale, filling our ribs front to back, side to side. And then exhaling, drawing that belly into the spine. Now as we take an inhale, we're going to drop our belly down towards the mat. Our tailbone goes up towards the ceiling and reaching our head long. Exhaling, drawing that belly in, scooping the tailbone down. So we're trying to kind of bring our tailbone almost towards our hands, and we're pressing the mat away. Inhaling, belly goes to mat, tailbone goes up. And exhaling, drawing that belly in, tailbone goes down, pressing away. Let's do one more. As we inhale, really filling that rib cage. And as we exhale, drawing that belly in, exhaling through our mouth. All right, so walking our hands out to a plank. So hands beneath shoulders, feet about hip width apart, pelvis is down, tucked in, belly's drawn in, and we're gonna kind of flow here back and forth with a down dog. So pressing up through our hands, trying to bring our tailbone and our sits bones up towards the ceiling, having a little stretch here, pedaling out the feet, getting a nice stretch in our hamstrings. And then we're going to flow back to that plank, holding here for a second, again piking the hips up, our sit bones go towards the ceiling, pedaling our feet, back to plank, always looking in front of your hands, keeping that neck long, and coming back. We're going to do a few more of these, just warming up the body, warming up the back, our shoulders, our arms, our core, of course our legs. Coming back. And again, really connecting with that breath. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. Let's do one more of these kind of flows. And then we're just going to hold in a plank. So coming into our plank position, you can move down to your forearms now, your feet or your knees. Belly's drawn in, shoulders are back and down, bums turned on, legs are turned on, and we're breathing. Let's do 10 more seconds here. And lowering our knees. You can sit back, bum towards our heels, really reaching it out, getting a nice shallow stretch here. Can rock side to side. All right, coming now down to our backs. We're gonna actually sit before we get onto our backs. So, feet are planted on the mat, about hip width apart. Take your hands, place them behind your thighs. You want to keep your feet on the mat for this entire exercise, and your lower body pretty much stays still. So we're going to take an inhale, and then as we exhale, begin to kind of scoop the belly and the pelvis. So it's almost like you're reaching your tailbone forward towards your knees, up towards the ceiling. Start to lean back, so your arms kind of stretch out. and then pause. So you're not quite on your low back, but you're above your tailbone. And then inhaling, bringing that spine forward and sitting up nice and tall again. So we'll do that faster now, but still at a slow and controlled pace. So take an inhale. As you exhale, scoop the belly, bring that tailbone forward, scoop it up, lean back, and you see how my back kind of has a C-shaped curve? That's what we're aiming for. And then inhaling, bringing that spine forward to sit back up. Exhaling, belly goes to spine, scooping that pelvis forward, leaning back. We're still wide across the chest. So even though we're in the C curve, we're not curving our shoulders together. They're sitting nice and wide. And inhaling, coming back up. Just continuing like this. Feet stay on the mat. Knees stay still. And coming up. If it helps you to think too, you can think almost like you're trying to draw your heels towards your bum. That's going to turn on the backs of your legs to help. And coming up. Couple more here. Scooping that belly, leaning back. And bringing that spine forward, sitting up. On this next one, coming back, we're going to hold and we're going to pulse. So you can reach your arms out and we're just going to go up an inch and down an inch. Up and down. Core is really turned on here. No creases in your neck. So you're not looking up and you're not looking down. You're looking pretty much straight in front of you. And these are kind of slow pulses, you'll see. Think about bringing those heels towards your bum. And we'll go for 5, 4, 3, 2, and last one, coming up. Now, one more, we're gonna roll down, so scooping that belly, and then we're just gonna continue to lie all the way down. And shimmy down on my mat, but here we go. All right, so we're lying on our backs. Our spine's in that neutral position. So we've got little grape-sized space beneath our lower back. Reach your legs out long. Back this way now. I'm just shimmying all over the place. Okay, reaching our legs out long, that neutral spine. Pressing your shoulders into the mat, your upper ribs into the mat. Reaching your legs long. Draw your right leg up straight. So keeping that leg as straight as best as you can, reaching, 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 and bringing it to your best vertical so long as you can maintain that neutral spine. So I can't really bring my leg beyond here before I start really popping my ribs out and arching my back. So I just go to here. And then lowering down with control. Reaching and bringing that leg up to your best vertical and lowering down. Again, so you also don't want to go, maybe if your back is flattening to the mat, you don't want to flatten your back. So you're only going as high as your body's allowing today. And the rest of your body is quiet. You're not rolling side to side. Relax your shoulders. Relax your jaw. That's also why we kind of breathe through pursed lips in Pilates, because then you can't be clenching your jaw. I wonder if you can hear my hip popping here. Let's do one more, really reaching long, trying to get to your best vertical each time, and lowering that leg. Now that leg connects to the mat, shoulders are connected to the mat, reach your left leg long, and bring it up to its best vertical, and lowering down. You're really reaching with your leg each time. And down. And you might have totally different sides. One leg might be able to come up so much higher than the other one, because our bodies are all uneven.
you're using your abdominals a lot here to maintain that pelvic control. So you're not, again, shifting all over the place, rolling, not flattening your back or arching your back. It's a lot of deep abdominal work here, even though it kind of doesn't really feel like it maybe. And I just have my hands on my hips. It's just kind of a thing. My hands just gravitate towards them so that I can check and make sure that my hips are staying level and I'm not rolling all over the place. You can also have your thumbs kind of on your lower rib cage to also help you know if your ribs are popping up. Let's do one more here. Lowering down. Now, we're going to do a few leg circles. So bringing your right leg up to tabletop, extending to your best vertical there, where your back is still neutral. And we're just going to draw little circles on the ceiling with our hips. So it's not just our ankle. Our ankle's not just going around and around. It's the hip socket. It's really going. And then we'll go in the other direction, reaching that leg long like you're trying to draw on the ceiling. Still maintaining that stable pelvis and not rocking. And finishing your circle, you can bring that leg to tabletop and lower it down. Left leg comes to tabletop, reaching to your best vertical and drawing circles on the ceiling. If you are wobbling a lot, make your circles smaller. Mine are about the size of, I don't know, a grapefruit right now. And then we'll go in the other direction. So again, we're using lots of control in our abdominals and our legs. Your inner thighs probably feeling something. Maybe your hamstrings or your quads or your bum. And we'll do one more. Bring that leg to tabletop and lower it down. Okay. Bring our legs up to tabletop. Spine is in that neutral position again. Bringing your arms up. Oh, sorry. Yes, arms up. No. Taking an inhale. As you exhale, nod your chin to your chest and come up. Bring your hands kind of towards the thigh side of your shins for our double leg stretch. So what we're going to do is bringing our legs in, hugging them in, and then exhaling, reaching arms and legs long, inhaling as you swoop your arms to the side and hug your knees into your chest. So exhale, reach long, arc your arms, hug it in. For this one, you could have your head down the entire time and just reach and arc, or your head can be up, shoulder blades off the mat. Your choice. And this is called the double leg stretch. We're really stretching, elongating our body. It is an abdominal exercise, but it's also meant to be a stretch. Let's do 3 more. Making sure you have that fist-sized space between your chin and your chest, so your neck isn't strained. And I can't remember, I think maybe one more, or we did an extra one, who knows. And lowering down, lowering your legs. You can grab behind your leg and kind of swing yourself up for our quadruped position. So, hands beneath our shoulders, knees beneath our hips, hip distance. This is that exercise where you want to pretend like you have 4 like hot coffees on your back, 2 on your shoulder blades, 2 above your hips, and you don't want to spill your hot coffee on yourself. So you want to keep your back as level as possible. Transfer your weight to your left hand, right knee, and begin to glide the opposite hand and leg out, and then reaching up and hovering. And we're just going to get into position here. So reaching long through your hand and through your foot, belly is drawn in. You have a little bit of give in that elbow that's supporting you, so you're not locked at the wrist. And hopefully your coffees are level. Another way to look is you can look at your thigh that's on the ground and see if it has started to shift side to side or if it is still up straight. And now with control, we're going to open our front arm to the side. So our right arm, we're just going to open it and then bring it back to straight in front of us. So kind of arcing that arm out to the side and back. Doing this nice and slow with control, using our abdominals, really reaching long still. Checking in with your coffees, seeing if your hips are level, shoulder blades are level, or if you've started to shift. Let's do one more. And you can lower your arm and leg with control and bringing them back in. Now shifting to your weight in your right hand, left knee, carefully gliding out the opposite hand and knee and hovering. So getting into position, again, you have a little bit of give in that elbow, it's not locked. You're reaching with your arm and leg, belly's drawn in. And your thigh bone that's on the ground is up vertical. You also want to check that you haven't started to shift backwards nor shift forwards. You still want that hip over your knee. And now we can start to arc our left arm out to the side and bring it back in, arcing it out, and coming back in. You're looking a few inches in front of you, so you're keeping the neck long, no creases in the neck. That'll start to strain your back if you're looking up like this the entire time. Making sure you're breathing, checking in with your coffees and your hips and shoulders and everything. Let's do two more on this side. And one more. And then bringing that arm and leg down with control, bringing them in, and we can sit back into a little shell stretch. If you need to roll out your wrists or anything, you can do that. Okay, so coming onto our sides for some sideline footwork. So you can be with your head in your hand like this. You can be lying down completely, making sure hips are stacked on top of each other, belly button's facing forwards, and your shoulders are stacked. Your spine is in that neutral position, so you're not really arcing or tucking your pelvis or anything. I'm gonna bend my bottom knee here, flexing both my feet, and then just lifting your top leg to about shoulder height and lowering down. Lifting and lowering. Lifting and lowering. Try not to let your leg rest each time. Keep a little bit of space. I like to keep my hand on my hip just to make sure that my hips are still stacked on top of each other and I haven't started to kind of rotate open like this. Also keeping that shin parallel, so your knee and your ankle should come down at the same time and go up at the same time. All right, couple more for here. I meant to have a timer on. Maybe I'll turn my timer on so then we're even on each leg. I like to do that. I don't like to be in a class, you know, when you feel like you do one leg for 3 seconds and the other leg for like 8 minutes. Now extending that top leg out long, pointing the toes, we're going to draw little circles. So again, about the size of a grapefruit, really using your core here. So draw that belly in. Think as if you have a belt on, that you're tightening that belt. And that's going to hopefully help your torso from wobbling and your hips from wobbling. Think as if you're drawing that circle on your far wall or whatever you're facing. And we can start to rotate the circle in the other direction. Again, we're not really going above shoulder height here. Using our belly. Checking in that our spine is still in that neutral position. We haven't started to arch our back. And now we're gonna flex our foot. So reaching through our heel, kick our leg forward so our knees kind of come in line, and then kicking back, squeezing our bum as we kick back. Kicking forward, and then kicking back, squeezing our bum. Make sure you're breathing each time, and squeezing the bum. If this is too much, if you're kicking and you're trying to get your knees kind of in the same alignment and you are wobbling all over the place, do smaller kicks. Just do a little kick forward, a little kick back. But you want to be in that kind of sweet spot where you're squeezing your bum back. And think about driving through the heel to really engage your bum. And we can lower down. You can hit it out for a second. So this next move, I would recommend, I like to lie my head down completely and kind of use my arm also as support. Extending both legs out now, so the bottom leg is also straight. You can have a hand on the mat to support as well. Making sure hips are stacked, belly button still facing forwards. Bring your top leg up. Bring your bottom leg up to meet it. Bottom leg goes down, top leg goes down. Top legs up, bottom legs up, bottom legs down, top legs down. So again, just going to about shoulder height. Really using that inner thigh of that bottom leg to help it come up and down. And each time we come up, so inner thigh, and then as we go down, we're doing it with control. We're not just slamming our legs down. On the next one, you can start to bring both legs up if you want. So both legs go up and both legs come down. Both legs up, both legs down. Alternately, you can do top leg, bottom leg meets it, and then both come down if you're having a hard time getting both of them up at once. And down. We're just gonna do a few more of these. I can't look at my watch and start to do this or I roll over the place. Again, with control, using your abdominals here. And last one, coming down. So, I'll stop that. Before we move on to the other side, we're gonna do some more of those plank downward dogs, but a little bit of a variation right now. So, getting into that position of on our hands, on our feet, hands beneath our shoulders, feet about hip width apart. We're gonna pike our hips up again, so sit bones kind of go up towards the ceiling. Shift the weight to your left foot, bring your right foot up, reaching it long. Now as we come into our plank, we're gonna bring that right knee to our left elbow. Going back into that three-legged downward dog. And then that right knee goes to right elbow. Bringing that leg up. Right knee to left elbow. So we're switching as we go side to side. And we're doing this with control. Belly's drawn in. A little bit of give in your elbows so they're not locked. Let's do one more on each side on this right leg. And then you can lower that foot. You can come into a little stretch before we go to the next one. You can roll out the wrists and getting back up there. So back into our plank. Shifting the weight, piking our hips up. Shifting the weight now to our right foot. Oh, this is kind of a slippery mat right now. Reaching that leg long. Coming into our plank, left knee now to right elbow. Reaching up, left knee to left elbow. Reaching up, and then to the right elbow, and up, left elbow, and up. 2 more of these flows. Breathing. If you're like me and you have a very weak upper body, you're probably feeling this in your shoulders, your upper back. And reaching up, I think that was our last one. Lowering that left foot. Let's just pedal it out for a second here. Keeping those shoulders out of your ears. And then flowing to a plank. And then you can bring your knees down gently, come back into that shell stretch, rolling out your wrists. You have to roll out your shoulders. And coming on to the other side for our leg series. So, getting into position, hips stacked, shoulders stacked, belly buttons forward. Legs are bent at about 90 degrees, feet are flexed. And we're going to raise that top leg and lower it, lifting and lowering. Again, both knee and ankle are coming up at the same time and going down at the same time. So we're not going like this, nor like this. It's all parallel. And another way to check if your hips have started to roll is, are your knees still kind of in line? Or is your top knee way behind your right knee? That means you've started to open up and your belly button's starting to creep towards the ceiling. So make sure knees and ankles line up as you do this move. Checking in that your spine is still neutral. You haven't started to arch your back or tuck your pelvis in. And let's do one more. And then we're going to extend that top leg out, reaching long, pointing with our toes, drawing our circles on the far wall with our hips. So again, it's not just the ankle rotating, nor the knee. It's that thigh bone in that hip socket that's drawing our circles. Draw your belly in to keep your torso still. Think about that belt through the corset and tightening it. My watch does not want to work today. And again, if you're wobbling a lot, make your circles smaller than a grapefruit. Make them like a small orange, I guess. I don't know why. I learned in Pilates school to think of a grapefruit, and that's what I always think of now. All right, other direction. Again, checking in that your hips are still stacked. You haven't started to open up towards the ceiling. And now we can flex our foot. So reaching through that heel, kicking our leg forward so our knees are kind of in line. And then kicking back, squeezing your bum. Kicking forward and back, squeezing your bum. Try to keep your leg at about hip height the entire time. And using that belly to stop from rocking side to side. Again, if you need to do smaller kicks today, that's fine. Do obviously what's right for your body. Don't try to be a hero. Sometimes I see in classes that I teach, people think they can just do everything, and I see them rolling all over the place, and it's quality over quantity. So that's why ones like today where we're going slow and controlled, even though you might not be sweating, definitely still getting a workout in. All right, and you can lower down, you can hit it out if you need to for a few seconds before we do those double leg lifts. So getting set up, again, you can have your hand down to support you, your arm down to press into. Hips are stacked, shoulders are stacked. Bring your top leg up, bottom leg up to meet it. Bottom leg comes down, top leg down. Top leg up, bottom leg comes up, bottom leg gently lowers down, top leg down. So continue doing this with control. Again, really using that inner thigh, that bottom leg. And then you can start to do both legs, so you can bring one leg up, then the other leg, and then bring them both down. Or you can just start to bring them both up and both down. Both up, both down. Really using abdominals here and obliques to help. Oh, I'm starting to rock all over the place. So again, checking in that your belly button's facing forwards, hasn't started to creep up to the ceiling. And if you need to go back to one leg at a time, that is all right. So as long as you're doing it with control and not just dropping your legs. Let's do one more. And lowering down. Great. Coming up for a couple of last exercises. So we started to get the obliques involved there, and we're going to do even more now. So thinking as if you have a helium balloon on your head is up tall, elongating that spine for some side bends. So we're going to reach up and over with our spine to the left. So up and bending to the left. Now using that right side waist to re-stack our spine up. And we'll go to the left again, so reaching up and over to the left. And then that right waist helps us to restack. So we're not just crunching over, we're reaching up and over, getting a nice elongation on the side. And do wherever you are today. If your fingers don't go all the way down to the ground, that's cool. And we want to pretend like we're in between two panes of glass. So as we're doing this, we're just going directly to the side. We're not leaning forwards, we're not leaning backwards. Let's do one more on the left. And now we are going to extend our right leg out straight, so it's in line with our knees. Our shoulders, hips, and knee are all in a line. Again, we're not leaning forwards or backwards. Let's do our hands behind our head for this one. And we're gonna do the same thing. So we're reaching up and over to the left, and then restacking the spine. Up and over to the left, restacking the spine. Using those abdominal muscles here a lot. I like to inhale as I go up and over, and exhale to come back up. Up and over, exhale, drawing that belly in, really using our corset or our belt. Let's do two more on this side. And last one. Bring that leg under. If you're having knee troubles, this is too much time on your knees, you can stand up for these side bending ones. So again, knee, shoulders, knees, hips, all in a line. We're between our two panes of glass. And we're just going to reach up and over to the right, using that left side waist to restack. Up and over, using that left waist to press against gravity. Gravity wants to push us down to the ground now that we're already halfway there. So we need to come back up against gravity. Checking in always that you're still between those two panes of glass and you haven't started to lean back a lot and kind of go like this. And over. Reaching up and over. Try to keep those shoulders down, out of your ears, not shrugged up. Let's do one more after this before we extend our leg out. So now extending our left leg out, hands behind our heads, and we're going to again reach up and over to the right, and then restacking that spine. Up and over. I'm finding this really hard on my knees because this mat's not thick enough to be on hardwood. Again, checking in that you're still stacked over your knee and your hips. Haven't started to lean back. And you're reaching up and over each time. You're not just crunching down to the side. Let's do two more on this side. Really tightening that belt. And coming up. Perfect. Let's do a couple of cool down exercises, some stretches. I'm gonna do these on my knees. You can do them standing again if you want. Arms out to a T, keeping your lower body still. So everything basically below your belly button is gonna stay facing forwards. And just your upper body is gonna rotate and your gaze is gonna follow. And then back to center. Upper body rotates to the other side. Back to center. You're reaching up through the crown of your head each time. This is a spine twist stretch. Let's do one more on each side. Let's do some figure four stretches. So you can do these sitting, lying down, whichever you want, basically crossing one heel over the knee and then kind of sitting back into it, getting a nice stretch along that crossed leg. All that sideline work we did. And then switching sides, switching legs, crossing opposite ankle over knee, sitting into the stretch. If you need to hold on to something, or again, you can do this when you're lying down, and then you just reach through the leg to kind of hug it into your chest. And let's finish with some side stretches since we just did all those that oblique work. So I'm gonna cross my right leg behind my left, reaching my right arm up, and again, I'm reaching up and over. Not a big side bend, I'm just trying to really lengthen this side of my body from the hip to the side, to the ribs. And we'll breathe through here for a couple seconds. Restacking, and then other side. Opposite leg comes behind, reaching up and reaching over. Keeping that arm away from your ears so you're not just like this. And then you can take a couple big breaths. So I hope you enjoyed that slow and controlled workout for days like today when it's almost 40 degrees outside and I didn't feel like jumping around and really working my butt off. I felt like being a little more slow and controlled. And again, always you can leave a comment, Let me know what you want to see. You can follow me on Instagram, comment there as well, at Pilates by Becky. And hope you join again. Thanks.